CNBC TV 18 Weekender.
So let's also talk about the entertainment industry and the changes that we've seen in the Indian economy for the last few months or for years for that matter. There has been a tax levy that has been changed. There's a GST now that has come in. Has it impacted your sector as well?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it's so the tax I remember when Mr. Modi took over, it was I think about 10.36 if I'm not mistaken. Then it went on to 12.36, it went on to 14 and then 15.5, then 16.5 with service and VAT included, and now it's 18% GST. So it's in the last 3 years it's almost 50% tax structure. So yeah, that's a big bother because in fact the industry feels that if the tax element comes down to 8-9%, I feel a lot more tax will be paid by people, rather than such high tax elements. It's
a discouraging element for the industry that the tax structure actually comes down to nil if you're getting married outside India.
Yeah, so there's a law of export services which basically says that if you get married or if you do any event out of this country and the payment for that event comes from out of the country, there's 0% tax,
So are people exploring that part?
Mostly NRIs, because they have a base in the whichever country they live in, and if they're doing the wedding out, if they take, for example, if they take us to, let's say, out of the country, say Dubai for example, or to Cambodia for example, and they're paying from their own country wherever they are residing, there's zero tax for them. Vis-a-vis if they were to do an event say in Mumbai or in Goa, then they would end up even with an 18% GST. So, and like I said, Cambodia is far cheaper than Goa.
A couple of things more then. Tell us on what the plans are for your company going forward from here. Are you going to list it? Are you going to grow it? Are there other avenues that you're looking at right now? What is the next 5 years that's looking to you like?
So we are, what we've done is, we are no longer a private limited company. We are now a deemed public company, which basically means that we have an option of going into the SME stock exchange and listing ourselves, going with a public issue. Although that is not the plan currently. The other angle is, we want to try and look at foreign equity partners, people who are from the industry, a similar line of industry, if not even from the industry. Like I said, there are a lot of NRIs, even non-NRIs, who have event companies, wedding companies, advertising agencies abroad, who are looking for presence in India and looking for people like us in companies where they can invest in, so that they can get presence here. Because it's difficult for a foreigner to actually just walk in here and set up a base here. It's difficult, things are different in our country.
They would rather partner with you in some sense.
They rather invest in my company, they rather partner with me, in which way what's going to happen is that they also get part of the chunk of the industry.
We talked about the Indian market here. What is the NRI spend like?
So it's far, far larger than most local Indians are.
But what percentage is it of your total business when it comes to wedding?
I think it's about almost 25%.
And the spend from NRIs is how much higher?
It's almost 40%, I would say, higher than what a local would do. So it's a lot of spend.
What is that advice that you would want to give to couples who are looking to get married? A place to look at, a budget to look at, and how personalized is it getting? I mean, that was yet another thing that I wanted to ask you.
It's very personalized, very intimate, because it's a wedding. It's not just another corporate event, So it is a personalized industry. Everything counts, because the table arrangements, the minute you walk in, the entrance, the pathway, the passage, the look of the stage, if it's a vidhi, table arrangements where you're going to sit and have your dinner. So every small elements do count.
Yeah, and it's the families who actually want you to look into all of those details.
These days, every family, there is one or two people in that family who's an event manager, and which actually helps us, because what happens is we get a lot of input from them, which helps us to also better ourselves and grow ourselves, which is good.
Okay, so last question. What is your advice outside to those couples looking to get married?
The important thing is, when you do a wedding in a local city, we do a huge reception for 2,000 people. By the end of it, you're tired, you're exhausted, and you're finished. But when you do a destination wedding, whether it's national or international, those are memories, and they are memories for life.
Yeah, but you can't carry those 2,000 people across country.
You can't. So that's why most people are developing a culture of doing a smaller wedding for 300, 400 people, which is a destination. And then what they do is, when they come back to the city and do one big reception, but they don't do a series of events in the whole city, then it gets too monotonous, because at the end of the day, it's the same place that you lived and you've been brought up and stuff like that,
Okay, so final piece of wisdom then for somebody who's going to get married soon.
Call Viva.
All right, user. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure.
Thanks.
CNBC TV 18 Weekender.